is
River Radio.
Where folklore comes to life. Stories by Lisa Levi.
The one about the old man and the Soucouyah.
But you don't believe that old superstitious nonsense?
Okay. So imagine this. You go to a rum shop. Or maybe a bar. And you meet a fella. He's a kind of oldish fella. He say he come from country. Still speaking patois like they used to do up in Paramin. And this old guy tells you he saw a Soucouyah. Old people talk, right? But he's so serious, no joke. He saw a Soucouyah. You might mock the fella. You might even laugh at him. But I bet you listen. Okay, he doesn't come right out and say he saw a Soucouyah. No, he starts off disclaiming. He doesn't know what is a Soucouyah, he says. All he could say is it was l'esprit, a spirit. Because he says he doesn't know if a Soucouyah is a person or if it's a bird. Sezozio. He could only say that a Soucouyah is a thing that you see at night. Epi lumière, with a light. So, his story goes that he left the village one day around 9 o'clock at night. And he was going up the road when he reached by a silk cotton tree. He looked up and muka lumière, he sees a light at the very top of the tree. He said to himself, Garçon, why is there a firelight at the top of the tree? He says he wasn't frightened but something told him, allez, go. So he starts walking fast. And while he's walking, he's saying to himself, pagade viwe, don't look back. After he reaches a good few yards up the road, he decides he's safe. He's going to look. And what does he see? A flame. A fire going up and going back down. He says, Yoka Jowi, it was playing. And while it's playing, it's coming closer. So he starts saying to himself, allez, garçon, don't stop. But he can't move. So the fella says, I hear about Soucouyah before, but I never see one. So you ask him if he thought it was a bird, and he says, no, it wasn't no bird. Zozio ni pas diffé. Birds don't have fire on them. And he's serious, very serious. So you ask him, well, how big was it? And he leans forward and he whispers to you. It was small like this, and then it get big like this. Le ser petit, le toi grand. It was getting smaller and then getting bigger. And it was lighting up and then going down. He says, Yoka Jowi, it was playing. Well, you don't want to believe the fella, but it's the way he's telling the story. You could tell he believes what he's saying. And you could tell in his eye, he's still a bit frightened. So, you don't want to dismiss him. You ask him, just to be clear, so was it a Soucouyah? And he nods and he says, that's what they say it was, a Soucouyah. He says when he told people, the person told him, Garçon, that was a Soucouyah. But Soucouyah is supposed to be a woman. So you challenge him. You say, well, Soucouyah is a woman. And he say, oh yes, Soucouyah is a woman. A woman who can fly, who can take off her skin at night and fly in a fireball. I thought he didn't know what a Soucouyah was. Peel off her skin and 12 code diab, come like a devil, and then the devil control her. And it's the only thing to stop a Soucouyah from sucking your blood, he says, salt. Soucouyah can't take salt. If you find where they hide the skin and put salt in it, you kill the Soucouyah. Well, he takes a long drink of his rum and you take a long drink of your rum too. And he keeps on shaking his head and he says, if the fire I see was Soucouyah, I don't know. But as it coming closer and closer, when Kui, he said, he ran for his life and it never caught him and never sucked his blood.
Say, look the devil down there.
I don't let them old people talk frighten me, so must have some explanation for that, man.
Hear this one, the one about the Seer Woman. This time, you're driving in country. And as you're driving, you see an old woman. And she's standing by the side of the road with a big bundle. And you decide to stop and give her a hand. She looks so frail and tired with a head tie on her head and the sack at her feet. You offer her a ride. But she says the car can't get up the hill where she lives. But you tell her, don't worry. You're young, you're strong. You pick up the sack. It's only as you pick up the sack, things start to move in the sack and you realize it's live chicken inside that sack. And she laughs when you ask her about it. But she doesn't give any explanation. She just climbs into the car and directs you to turn off the main road and up a dirt track. Well, you're already wondering if this was the best decision you ever made. You're bumping and scraping along the track and the track getting rougher and narrower and she ain't saying nothing. The journey takes a while and you're wondering, where is this house supposed to be? And she keeps saying, you're soon there, you're soon there. But the track just keeps going on and on. Finally, when you're sure you're in the middle of nowhere, she tells you to stop. You stop. She opens the door and climbs out the car. So you come out too, you go around, you take the sack with the chickens out of the car, and then she gestures for you to follow her. After about 10 minutes walking through the bush, you finally reach an old wooden shack. And there's a chair outside, a big mango tree, a calabash tree. As you put down the sack, she offers you something to drink. You want to say no, but you don't want her to think you're refusing her hospitality. So you say, okay, yes, thank you. You was feeling hot anyway. The old woman goes inside the shack, and it's then you notice ribbons tie in the branches of the calabash tree, and bamboo poles on the side of the shack with all the colored cloth tied to it. You decide maybe the best thing you could do is go. You get up, but before you could give apologies and run, she's back outside with a cup. It's just Kool-Aid, she says. Hope you don't mind Kool-Aid. So you take a sip of the warm, sweet drink and you're thinking how long before you could say bye-bye. And it's then she says she is a seer. I is a seer woman, she says. You half choke and you hope it don't sound like you're laughing. She says she saw you in a dream the night before and she knew you were going to give her a lift. What you going to say to that? You don't know what to say. You just stand there with the cup in your hand, looking at her, trying to think how you're going to get out of this now. And she says how in the vision she saw 2 roads and you choose the road that took you to the river. And when you reach the river, Mama Glow rise up out of the water and pull you down into the river. You know for sure it's time to go. This lady is crazy. Really, you're too afraid to stay, but you're too afraid to go. You're sweating. She says, don't worry, child. Mama Glow throw you back. And she laugh and laugh. You start to relax a bit. It's not serious things. It's a joke, right? But then, all of a sudden, the old lady get very serious. She look you in your eye. She say, You, child, was lying on the riverbank, and a flock of parrot rush out the trees. Parrot is a good sign. Okay, you say. But a ball of fire shoot out after the parrot, and that is a bad sign. Then 31831 Kobo circle round you like kite, and that is the sign of danger and death, child. Death. You don't believe in them things, but you're not taking no chance. You step back from the lady. Her hand gets strong on your arm. She said the kobo dropped down and pull at your flesh till you was just skeleton bone lying on the ground. But as the salmon tree shed leaves upon you, and the roots twine round your legs, and bachakan step in your eye, and worms creep up your throat, and Jap spinia build nests in your ears. No, you shout, no. You don't want to hear all of that. It's a good sign, she say. You're trying to pull your arm away, but she not letting go. Death does come in threes. Well, you don't want to hear no talk about death. You had enough. You put down the cup. You didn't even bother say good evening or goodbye. You hustle out the yard. Start walking down the track. It's a good sign, she call after you. Rebirth. But you keep walking and you don't look back. When you finally get to your car, you jump in, you close the door, you lock it, you turn up your window, and you head back to town. Well, when you get to town, you tell your friends about the lady, and they laugh, and you laugh. But inside you're not laughing.
River Radio, the one about the bush of ghosts.
We have a caller. Yes, caller. What you want to say?
You're laughing at the lady, but I see a Soucouyah. What if I tell you I see a Soucouyah and a Lagahoo?
So you see a Soucouyah and a Lagahoo. Oh, we have to hear this story.
What, you don't believe me? Well, imagine this. I jump off the bus to go home. I work late. Yeah, must be about 10 o'clock. But because I'm late, I decide to take the shortcut behind the playing field. Have a lot of bush and tree if I take that shortcut. But I take it. And at night, it's so dark, no street light, pitch black. I turn a bend in the track. What I hear? A voice talking. So I start walking quiet, pitch dark, I tell you. And I hear the voice say, 12 hot pepper, dry. 12 green pepper, dry. Coffee bean, just 3. Tobacco, myrrh, and resin from the blood tree. Well, I pause. When I peep through the bush, I see a man by a campfire under a tall salmon tree. And he grinding up something in a mortar. And I smell this something. It smells sweet, sickly sweet. So I take a careful step. And the man say, I see you. I feel the blood run cold in my veins. I sure is me talking too. Then he stand up. And when he stand up, he tall, about 8-9 foot tall. But he not looking at me. It's not me he talking to. He looking up into the salmon tree. And I hear him say, I see you, bloodsucker. Well, my heart beating hard by this time. I look to where the man is pointing, and I see something red flickering in the tree. It looked like fire. A flame flickering in the tree.
And do you think it was a Soucouyah?
That was the Soucouyah. Yes. And the next thing, the fire fly out the tree straight at the man, and he duck. And as he duck, it circle over his head, 2 times and dash up into a palm tree. But it ain't finished. It started creeping down the tree. I could see it glowing as it moved. And then it dropped to the ground. And it moving to where the man standing by the fire, going straight for him. And the man swinging long leg and kicked the mortar into the campfire. Sparks start flying and a red cloud of smoke start rising. And I could even smell the smoke. Could taste it in the back of my throat. Strong, sweet, but sharp, bitter in the back of my throat. But from the way it looked, like the smoke stopped the jumbie. Because as the smoke spread out, the fireball dashed back up in the air. And it like as if it couldn't go past the smoke. It hovering round on the edge of the smoke. And I watching this fireball, see it good. And believe me, had a face in the fireball. Soucouyah face. I see it. The bony face. The hollow eyes. And I'm so frightened I can't move. And as I'm watching, the mouth drop open wide. If you hear this scream, it's a zombie scream. And it dart up high in the air and gone. And I think at least they never see me. But it's then the man turned wrong. And in the dark, in the smoke, I could see the eye looking directly at me. Green eye glowing like cat eye in the pitch dark. And that is when I turn and run. I run, yes, back up the track. I wasn't waiting to see. But the whole time I running, I could hear something running behind me. Doom, doom. And it getting close. Could hear it breathing heavy. A duck under a tamarind tree. And something grabbed my shirt. A scream. Yes, a scream. I sure you get me. But same time I reach the main road. Car fly past me. I turn wrong to see what was chasing me. And what was on the track? The tall man with the 2 long legs. One on one side of the track, the other on the other side of the track. And he looking down on me. And I could see he watching me. You think I waste any time? I cross over the road and catch a maxi to take me the rest of the way home. Man, you want to tell me I didn't see a Soucouyah and a Lagahoo? All you don't know nothing.
Look the devil behind me.